Beautiful. I'm here with Anna Flavia, whom I have known for many years and followed her beautiful journey into motherhood and into serving pregnant women and postnatal women. And we're in a very exciting phase of her journey at the moment because she very recently gave birth to her second child. Do you want to tell us a little bit about how you're going and how it's all been, Anna Flavia?
Yeah, sure. Lovely to be here with you, Katie. And actually, today, my beautiful son named Pacha is 3 weeks old. He was born like on the 23rd, of June. So it's been like a little bit surreal because I have a toddler, and with a almost 3-year-old son, I'm always busy. And for the last 3 years, I've been moving, moving, moving. And for the past 3 weeks, I just been still and literally just at home. So I had a lot of time to go really inward and be really, really present with this tiny, tiny little human that is teaching me so much. And also sort of like it's teaching me how to look after myself. Yeah, it's been a beautiful time of a stillness and quiet, and obviously interrupted sleep, and lots of how do I change a nappy, and how do I be present for my oldest son and be present for my husband and don't be bossy. But in all that, I'm really enjoying, and I'm also enjoying how my son is becoming a big brother, and how he even decided to go with his grandparents for 4 days to Sydney for the very first time. He's always been with me, and when Pacha was 2 days old, we sort of offered, would you like to go to Sydney? Because we obviously are a little bit busy and cannot give you attention. And he was like, yeah, I'm happy to go by myself. And it was a little bit harder for me. But yeah, just really seeing also the fruits of being present with my first son, and how that is now taking its own place, that now I have to focus more on my new baby.
Yeah. One of the things I've really noticed in my parenting journey is around attachment parenting is, I remember, well, I remember when I had my first child and I was doing, pretty strong attachment parenting. I've co-slept with all my children. I carry my children. I don't put them in strollers, all of the things. And I remember my mother, who's, kind of old school, saying to me, "Oh my goodness, you're going to end up with children that are so dependent on you and clingy, and like they need to learn to be independent," like very old-fashioned kind of idea. And I remember at the time intuitively knowing that that wasn't true. But I now see, I constantly receive compliments from people with all my children, ranging in age from 18 to 3. Um, oh, they're so confident. They're so independent. They're so capable in the world. And they really are. They're very confident humans, all of them. And I honestly believe it's because of that initial very strong, secure attachment. They feel safe in their nervous system from such a young age. They're not left to cry. They're not trying to figure out where is my carer. It's like the care and the safety is there. Even as young as 3, he's intelligent. Your son is intelligent enough to go, okay, mum and dad have a new little being to look after for a little while. And I feel okay in myself and I have a secure attachment. I know they're still here for me. And it's this beautiful unfolding of the next level of being an older sibling and a little thread. And it's hard, like you said, it's harder for us than it is for them. These little threads of independence start to come. It's very beautiful. It's actually one of the big surprises for me of having more than one child, of watching the older one or older ones flourish into being older siblings.
Yeah, I find that what I was reflecting with my husband is because he doesn't feel we are shushing him or telling him, "Oh, you are being annoying," like you are sort of like pesting us, you know. It's more like we love you. You can be here, but if you want, that's the option, and you will have more attention. And he feels confident in that love, like it's that unconditional love that us having them close, not letting them cry, like be sure we treat them like equals, not like they are, yeah, their limitations are different, but they're still humans. And I will say they are closer to source and to spirit. They literally just came from there, and we are a little bit farther on the journey of rediscovering that.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you. I want to go all the way back to the very beginning of your pregnancy because I remember seeing you, your second pregnancy, very, very early on, and you blew my mind completely because you said, "Oh, I think I might be pregnant. I'm not sure. I'm not going to do a test. I'm just going to wait and see." And you were the first person I've been like in direct contact to and close to that this idea of the wild pregnancy. Um, and what struck me about that, because I'm such a impatient, controlling person, I'm like, I want to know what's going on, like, um, was just your really laid back, like, trust in the universe, trust in the process approach, which seems like it's been very much part of your motherhood journey. So I'd love for you to tell us about that.
Yeah, like we knew we wanted another child, and my period took a long time to come back, almost 2 years. And I had like 3 periods where it was very irregular. So I feel like it took a long time, but it came very consistent, and I felt really good in my body. And then we sort of like try, and we were traveling, we were on a road trip. So my period didn't come, and I was like, okay, I think I'm pregnant. But then also I'm traveling, so that might have made my period be delayed. But I was like, just trying to be present. And yeah, I am a control freak too. And I wanted to know, like I wanted to be like, am I pregnant? No, like at that time, I really wanted to get pregnant. So also was this fear of, am I able to ever be pregnant again? Because I didn't have my period for so long. And all the things that happens to all of us in our head, like I had all of that. But then part of me was like, just see how your body, just have, I wanted to really develop this connection of trusting my body, and just allowing time, and that impatience, because I am very impatient, and I wanted to really focus on be present. And then um as soon as I was like, I think 5 weeks pregnant, I was very nauseous, so I was like, yeah, I think I'm pregnant. And then from then, it was like, definitely I'm pregnant, because I got really, really sick. My energy was really low for like the first trimester. I was with all that morning sickness, and having a toddler, obviously, I felt worse than with my first child, where I had the same, but just because my little bit of energy was for my son. Like, but then I realized I hadn't been back home. I'm originally from Peru, in a long time, for like 6, 7 years. And I really felt like my baby in womb was telling me, you need to go back. My son hadn't been yet. Our family was about to change radically from 3 to 4. And I just felt like that connection back to my own roots needed to happen. And then just in Peru, I reconnected with a lot of like family members, and that just gave me more. Everything is unfolding perfectly, and the pregnancy is going really well. And something that actually happened at 34 weeks that I would like to share, because that really reassured me of my connection with my baby, was like, it was raining for like a whole month, it felt nonstop. And I live like sort of on a tree house with lots of stairs, and we were coming back from a birthday of one of my son's friend, and it was pouring, and I just wanted to get down, and I'm rushing my son and rushing myself, like, let's go down fast, let's go down fast. And obviously I slide, and I fell on my bum, and I had some water release actually. And I
Oh.
was by myself with my son, my husband wasn't at home. And this happens in microseconds. Like, I touch my belly, and I get this sensation that I'm good from the baby. You are good. And I just turn to see my oldest son, and he's about to yell because he got a fright of seeing me fall. And I'm like, it's okay. It's okay. Don't worry. I'm good. Baby's good. I was wrong. You shouldn't rush. It's raining. Obviously, we should just go slow. It doesn't matter if we get wet. Like, look what happened. This is a great lesson. Let's just walk down. And I just got in the shower, put my son in the bath, and monitored that I was not releasing any more liquid, and called my husband and said, hey, please come home. He was like 1 hour away, but yeah, he started making his way home. And it just felt like that could have been super scary. And I know for a lot of women will be, when I told friends, they were like, ah, but it felt such a deep connection instantly, that I was like, okay, I have this relationship with this being inside of me, and we are so interconnected. I actually got a message from, now I know it's him, which then just reassure me we are good,
Mm.
everything is good. I can really trust my instincts, and I felt movement, and it all went fine from there, besides the massive bruise on my bum, and the good lesson of don't rush. Yeah.
Yeah. And do you think it's harder to cultivate that relationship with your baby in the womb and that relationship with yourself of self-trust if you're externalizing a lot of feedback, like if you are dependent on a lot of tests and medical institution and feedback from doctors, that relationship with self and with the baby gets eroded? Is that, do you believe that to be true?
100%. I mean, any sort of, like, not even experts, just even friends, because like anyone, even if you told your neighbor, any person that you interact, like, we are because of others, and we are because of our environment. Yeah, our genes, but we are constantly exchanging DNA through our oxygen, with everything around us. So definitely, if you, what I say is your power, no? If you give your power by asking questions, and they are gonna give you, like any of us, an answer from their own experience, and that's so different. And especially in today's world, where birth unfortunately carry a lot of trauma, a lot of, like, doctors, even midwives, carry trauma because they see it in so many ways. So they are going to carry that when they answer whatever inquiry you have, and they're going to go back to all stories that they have within own experience and bring that. Well, that cuts your ability to connect. And then if you have an idea, it will make you second guess. Like, it will make me second guess. I think it's just part of how we are intertwined with others and how it affects us, especially if it's our mother, or it's like someone we have a sense of power, like it will be like a doctor or someone, an obstetrician. It definitely will affect. And I was very conscious to don't go there, because I knew it will interrupt that, and it will make you second guess. But I feel like that's when also having regular practices that allow you to go back to your body and the different layers, not only your physical body, but your emotional body, energetical body, spiritual body. And that's when yoga comes. And it's been part of my practice for the past 15 years, like really, really embodied for the last 10 years. And that's something that has constantly just bring me back to where I am and who I am right here, right now. And that keeps changing all the time, but it's definitely a practice that just keeps me back to myself, like keeps me grounded. And it's something that you have to do regularly. It's not something that you just do once, like a shower and I'm clean. No, you will get dirty. You have to constantly keep coming back to it.
And when you went back to Peru, you were practicing some ceremony, you were doing some, I guess, connecting to the red thread and to your ancestry. You spoke about not having been for a long time. How was that in regard to the pregnancy and the birth preparation?
Oh, it was massive. Last time I was in Peru, it was very traumatic because my dad passed very unexpectedly, and that brought a lot of things and family and trauma, and all the things that come with life and death. So going back was very triggering at the beginning, because I haven't been in so long, and how I'm bringing my own family now. I'm bringing my son. So you are worried not only how you're gonna go, how he's gonna go. Is he gonna get a virus? Everyone's telling you, oh, your kid is gonna, Peru. It has, but surprisingly, like, it was just like, I didn't plan the trip. We were there for 2 months, and I only planned where I was going to stay first. We ended up even changing, because, like, my whole trip was just unfolding. And I purposely, my husband is like that. He just likes to take it day by day. I'm very, like, I like to have a plan. I want to do this, I want to do that. And for the first time really in my pregnancy, I allow myself to, okay, I don't need to prove anything. I can eat whatever I want. I can do whatever I want. Just need to feel where I am. And that was the beauty. For the first time, I really allowed life to just guide me fully, even on our trip. Like I didn't plan anything, everything was booked like according to when it felt right, and how people will talk about something and we'll like, oh, let's try that, let's go there, let's do that. And with family the same, I didn't try to, I need to talk to these people, we need to reconnect. It just unfold naturally, and it's just so beautiful how life just guide us where we need to be when we just get out of this idea of I need to control, because it's fully um an illusion, no? And we always have another places where we control. Like I like to have my house tidy, and that's my, I guess, where I get my control, sort of like, okay, everything is sort of like not like it is now, but that idea of like, okay, it could be doing my bed, making my laundry, putting all the dishes in order. But I find like, and this is a reality I know now of how my life is unfolding. When you let the universe, when you let source, God, life just unfold, you're always going to find yourself without that resistance that we tend to put, because it's just expectations that we have that get on the way of we just being fully present. And that taking us from the present is what bring us into our head of the mind remembering, or the future trying to what is going to be and trying to guess. And life is so unpredictable and beautiful if we really can be present with whatever is happening right now.
Mm. I feel like we've designed our lives in the modern world to have as much control as possible in so many different ways, whether it's about, food, or just like, even, you're too hot, you put the air conditioner on, you're too cold, you put the heater on. It's like we can just make everything the way we want it to be. And one of the very few areas that we still don't have control is birth and death. Like we don't know when we're going to die, and birth is a very unknown. And even within birth, of course, we've tried now to create as much control as possible. This is kind of the paradigm of the modern medical system. It's like, let's control this entity so that we can have outcomes that are to be expected. And it's sort of so ironic that that works the opposite way, that the more we try to control it, it feels like the less in control we are. It's like, yeah. And I really experienced that myself with my last birth with my daughter, that happened during COVID. And because of all those different restrictions and problems and challenges in the medical system, I ended up really getting sucked into that vortex of not trusting myself. And it's so shocking to go into that place, even with all the experience that I've had in birth, and really get derailed by this idea that someone else knows better than you, that something or someone externally knows better. So I'm really interested to ask you how this journey of self-trust and this journey of surrendering to God's plan, the greater plan, looked like for you in your actual birthing experience.
Yeah, like from the beginning, even before I conceived my son, I had a meditation where I felt like his soul basically told me that one, I needed to go back to Peru and reconnect with my family before he was born, and two, I really needed to take ownership of his birth. And I had my first son at home with two amazing private midwives that I'm still in touch and see them all the time, that are local to my area, and had a beautiful experience. Like it was really my two births having like the two most powerful experience of my life. But with this new child, it was all about you need to really connect with yourself, which means you really need to know your body and you really need to take responsibility of it, which is very challenging, because I'm very inclined to always ask, and even ask my husband, I have this, what do you think it is? Is a bite, is a tick, is a pimple? Like I'm not someone who it's resourceful, or even will go and try to figure out itself. I straight away go and ask my husband. So it was a really whole journey of like, okay, so what does that mean? Does that mean that I just want my family, I just want friends? And I was like, just see how it goes and you will figure out. See how it goes and you will figure out. And when I got closer to the birth, I was like, yeah, it just feels good for just me, my husband, and if my son wish like to be there, and he happens to be awake, to be us. And then when he actually came, which was unreal, because it was the winter solstice, and I really wanted to do a beach a fire by the beach, and I ended up improvising like this idea of I want to have a fire and invite like all the people I knew, and there was like 30 people that show up, and it was just so beautiful because I felt this is the community you're sort of going to be born into. And then the day after, a friend was doing an art exposition in the local yoga studio, and she said there will be like a didgeridoo sound bath. So I decided to go by myself, and it was just a profound, beautiful experience, feeling love, feeling really welcome by this land, even though I'm not born here. I like to feel you belong here. You are actually part of where you are exactly where you need to be, like all of us. We belong to our body, to this earth, to this place. And I got home and my belly had fully dropped. And I was like, oh, maybe baby is engaging. I'm just gonna try to rest. And then when I was trying to rest, I was having sensations and they were not strong. It was like, but I was like, how long I want this birth to be? In my head, I was like, I don't want to sleep and for it to be days. I think it's gonna happen soon. I'm envisioning it's gonna happen soon. And I just got up and woke up my husband. It was like 11 p.m. Like, let's turn on the fire. We have an indoor fire in my living room, and I always like felt like we're gonna have the fire because baby's coming in winter. I had a birth pool and just had a lot of candles, so I started preparing the space, and it was really enjoyable. I was having sensations, but they were completely breathable and like I was actually allowing them to come and just bouncing with my ball, with my exercise ball as they will come. And it was a clear night. I could see stars. I went into the balcony, saw a shooting star, which was just I was like, okay, everything looks amazing. Nature is just welcoming into the experience and allowing me to really enjoy it. And like then around I don't know 4:20 a.m. like I felt like, oh, that's really intense. It got really intense at that stage, and I was like, I need to jump in the pool. And I jumped in the pool, and my son was born at 4:32, like within 10 minutes, and it was really intense. But just that moment where he literally came, and he came really fast. Like there was with my previous birth, I felt like the head drop and go up a little bit, and with him it was like, oh. And then I was just like, he's here. Like I was just so in love, and this is real. Like there is the fire, this is the pool, this is my house, it's just me, my husband, this is my baby. And just that natural oxytocin takes over you, and you just feel whole and fully embody. And I was just, yeah, so alive, so grateful for my own trust, for my capacity to discern, when I do need to. Because obviously if I will not have felt safe or anything, I'm very grateful there is an ambulance and there is hospitals and there is people that are trained to be able to look after me in those situations. But birth is a physiological experience that shouldn't be linked or associated with sickness or like something not being right or not optimal or being categorized, because we are so unique, like so unique. Like for some women, like it's normal to have kids at 42, 40 weeks. For me, with my first and my second, it's been 38. I know some people that it's been 35. It's just we have gone to try to control birth and try to put it in a box. And if you really go into yourself, you're going to understand that we cannot fit in any box. We just have individual boxes where we just can only know ourselves. And that's a choice. It's always beautiful to know that we do have a choice. That's the other thing that this whole birth reminded me, that you have the choice to choose to go. And I think it comes from acting from fear or acting from love. It's always going back to those two options. So am I acting because I am afraid, or am I acting out of love? And that's where I kept bringing myself back in all my pregnancy. And it's something that I have adopted now into my life. Like, I think it's one of those times when you realize that's how life works, and you just embody that and you take it with you. And that's the power of birth, because it really offers profound healing and profound self-realization if you have the presence and you have the intention. It's all about what do you want to experience as well. And if you come from fear, or I don't want, like, if just the idea of like it's going to be hard, it's going to be painful, chances are it is going to be, because that's what you're coming into put it together.
Mm. Yeah, such a beautiful story. It's so lovely to hear. In a world where we hear so many trauma stories around birth, I just think it's so wonderful to hear these stories of a nourished, trusting, natural physiological birth surrounded, like in the safety of your home, surrounded by your family. Like it's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah, and also like my son came maybe an hour after he was born, and I hadn't birthed the placenta. He literally came, and as he came, the placenta came out, and he was like, "Oh, that's such a big placenta, mom. It's so big." And it's also like beautiful that he gets to experience that. And it changed not only my reality, but it changes the reality of my son, and then of the family and friends around me, because they have a point, like they have a point, a model that they can relate to. And it's so important, like having spaces like these that you have created, where we can share things like that, and we can bring them more into the conversation, so people know there is other ways, and we don't know until we hear about it or we experience about it. And it's all, I will say, if you really want to have a natural birth, surround yourself with stories, with people. Don't surround yourself with the opposite, because we are influenced constantly by our environment and by the people we interact the most with.
And the reality is, at this particular time in history, in this particular culture, we actually have to work quite hard. It's quite counterculture to not have lots of intervention and lots of, it's like yeah, I'm interested, I guess, to ask you how much of a boundary, how much care did you have to take to really curate that experience of not getting all these voices and the fear and the judgment and all of that stuff?
I will say, and this will bring me back to my first pregnancy, because during my first pregnancy, I was very vulnerable to external opinion and external validation. And that was something that I was so aware of, that I decided to go off social media, because I knew that will affect me. I knew whatever little thing I will see there, or opinion, or if I put a photo of me pregnant and someone comments something, or someone come and ask me something, that will affect me. I was so conscious that I wasn't ready to be able to fully be on my own, that I was getting influenced, that I just put that boundary, and I was like, I'm just gonna be off. And I was off of it 3 years. And that allowed me to have a very beautiful first home birth experience. With this pregnancy, I had worked so much as becoming a mother with my son, embodying really this myself and caring for my young one, that idea of like what I stand for and who I am. So this time I was on social media, but I was so just surrounded by things. I never saw anything that triggered me. And even if I hear like I remember I ran a workshop of yoga and making a dream catcher for babies, and I had pregnant mamas coming, and one of them at the end of the workshop asked me, have you done this test? It was one of the ultrasound tests, the morphology exam or something like that. And I was like, no, I haven't done any tests. And she was like, so, your child could have Down syndrome. And she just dropped it like that. She was so direct. She literally just told me that. And I was like, it is a possibility. And yeah, and then I obviously in my head, these thousands of questions, like, and then my answer was like, well, then I will have at least not a stressful pregnancy, and I will deal with whatever happens when baby's here in the way that I will be able to deal then, not now. But so obviously those questions, those fears still come up in our head. And I find like this pregnancy, I done a lot of work on just owning who I am. And that was why I was very, I also didn't had much of that, like compare. And I was just also, you share what you planning with the people that you trust, or you don't share, you just, keep it to yourself, and trust that not everyone is ready to don't project their fear on you. And a lot of people project fear on pregnant women. It's like, oh, there's a pregnant woman, let's go and project all our fear, because somehow that's what our culture has told us to do. Let's go and tell her all the horror stories and possible things that can go wrong. And we have
Or
to.
they just have their own unresolved trauma. I mean, that's what I found. It's like so many women have not processed their own traumatic births. that they see a pregnant woman and it's an inappropriate opportunity to discharge some of the energy and trauma they're carrying around their own birth, which is really sad. It just speaks to how dysfunctional birth has become in our culture, that women are kind of walking around with these big wounds that they have no place to put this trauma experience.
Yeah. And what you just said reminds me what I did also my first pregnancy that I think is massive. And I got out of the course that I did. I did it before and then I did it while I was pregnant with my first son of was really connecting with how my own birth experience, like my mom birthing me, was, and that red thread, which is very, very, very powerful, especially as women through our mother lineage. We do carry a lot of it, and sometimes it's not even ours. We don't know where this from is coming. And going back, having those conversations, allowing a space for if we have the connection with our mother or people that will around our birth to share that I found really, really, really healing. And also my partner, like he also did the same. And it allows also again a space for ancestral healing, which ultimately is just what we are all here doing, really.
Mm. Yeah. I have one last question for you. Actually, one thing I'll just say quickly, in terms of the summit, we have a beautiful presenter, Pam England, from Birthing from Within, and her whole talk is about birth story listening and birth story medicine. So if people are listening to this conversation and feeling like they are carrying some of their own birth trauma, or you know someone who is, there's this beautiful process and practice, birth story medicine. So go listen to Pam's session because that will be really helpful for that. But the last question I want to ask you, Anna Flavia, is about the journey then from this beautiful, wild pregnancy and free birthing experience into parenting. It's like this whole journey of trust, trusting through the conception, through the pregnancy, through the birth. Do you feel that it also translates now postnatally in terms of the decisions you're making as a mom, as a family, as parents, and trusting yourself more deeply in that way as well?
100%. 100%. And I can give you an example already that happened, of course, with a brand new baby that is so tiny, and everyone tells you is their immune system is so low and they're so precious. You always want to make sure everything is fine. And um, I was having some concerns, and my husband asked someone, and they told us, oh, you should take him to a GP, like it doesn't look good. And then he wasn't with me. He texted me that, and I freak out, make an appointment for the local medical center. And then he came, and I was like, I really want to take him to a GP. I think he's fine. And then he was like, you're right. He just needs sunshine. It was just in one of his groins, the skin had unfold, and there was like a little bit of pus coming because we hadn't like fully let it dry. And we literally put him, and I was very confronted, but I was like, it just doesn't feel good. And then I spoke with my husband. He was like, you're right, I shouldn't have texted you that. It doesn't feel good with me either. I think it's not that bad. He looks fine, he's happy, he's not crying, he doesn't have a fever. Like obviously looking all signs that your baby will communicate if something will really bad. And then we put him in the sun for like 2 days, nappy free, and it was gone. And then again, like, when do you externally try to look for someone else opinion, it's gonna affect you. And it really affected me, like it really shocked me. And at the same time, I was about to do something I didn't feel right about, because a lot of times we do know when it doesn't feel good. And as mothers, we have that instinct so ingrained. Like even if you're fully disconnected and you think you don't have anything to do with your child, you have carried your child for 9 months. You cannot be fully disconnected. So it's so ingrained. So I find going back to that trust, what really feels. And it definitely, yes, like now I'm more like, not everyone is going to be like, I mean, actually no one is going to be an expert at my son and myself, only me and eventually himself. So I need to just trust again. And then you start discerning when opinions are needed and how you ask them and from where, and how you are able then to like choose what really is relevant for you, because that's life, like opinions. And there's great people that have experience that can offer us things, and sometimes it's very helpful, but it's coming back to, is that helpful right now for my situation, for me? and being able to discern that. And for that, you do need to have a practice of coming back to yourself, and it's a constant, um, and don't have external noise, like being really present with your child, be really present with you, especially in this postpartum period that is. So I think the healing that happens through birth can be fully integrated only if you allow this time of quiet, of being still in that process. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
beautiful. And I noticed for myself, it's like a muscle that gets strengthened, that self-trust around the parenting. And now I'm at a place with my fifth child where it's almost second nature. Like I really very rarely doubt my decisions around what's right for my children, for their health, for their mental health, their emotional health. Like I have a very strong sense of intuition and kind of inner inner guidance. But when I look back and I think about my first child, my second child, there was a lot more of me, exactly what you're describing, that process of like filtering information, receiving information from different sources, and then making decisions within that, and having to be very conscious about that, very deliberate. Especially with my first, he had a lot of sleep problems. Like, you're making decisions for the first time about things like immunization, all the testing, like these feel like massive decisions. Whereas now it's like, well, this is what I do. Like
yeah,
I don't immunize my baby the moment they're born. I don't do that. And I don't leave my baby to cry so that they'll sleep. Like that's just not how I do it. But the first times that you make those decisions feels huge. It's just so big. It gets easier and easier, I think. And I've noticed for myself, we get clearer. So it's a beautiful journey. Thank you so much for sharing with such honesty. And I really feel I'm excited for people to listen to this interview because I feel that people will get so much from it. There's so much richness, and you have a truly balanced and very, in my opinion, very intelligent perspective. So I'm excited for people to hear what you have to share, and I'm grateful to you for giving us your time, especially while your baby is so small.
yeah. Thank you so much. It's very important for me to share because I feel like there needs to be more people sharing when they have positive and beautiful stories, and we all struggle in one way or another, but let's open the perspective that things can go well, and instead of thinking how this can be like going on that direction, how can actually, what if it goes amazing, what if I have exactly what I'm envisioning, and envisioning in a positive way. So thank you so much, and feel honored to be able to share with you and with everyone listening the beautiful story of my birth. And yeah, wishing everyone in their journey the best, and just to fully trust from their heart, making decisions from there, and fully trust who you are. You are the expert at your body and at your baby, and yeah, and doing you. Thank you so much, Katie.
Thank you.